Hello, Goddess. Welcome back. It's Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul. And in this space, I guide goddesses to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as goddess alchemy. Come on in, make yourself comfortable. Hopefully, you have something to drink, some water, or some tea, however, you're receiving this energy. Thank you for joining me in this space. Today, we're going to talk about how I went from a sad girl to a bad girl. Okay, bad gal energy is what we're talking about today. Before I get too deep in this, I want to remind you to please like this video so that the algorithm can do its magical thing. Please share so that other goddesses such as yourself can receive this message, and subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here. Also, turn on the notification bell so that you can receive these messages when I upload them every Monday. So, I want to share with you how I went from my sad girl era. What did that look like for me? For a very long time, I suffered from anxiety and depression. For those of you that don't know about my story, and I basically used to loop through these cycles of real anxiety, just having it inside of my body, not knowing what it was coming from, as well as the depression. And I just kind of want to share with you what that felt like for me, because I know a lot of us are out here silently suffering from these things because of the demands that we have on life, whether it be from work or from family, or whether it just be from the pressure that we put on ourselves. As women, we tend to hold, the weight of the world. It's just a habit that we have. It is how we have learned in our feminine bodies most of the time to exist. And as I started to go through my journey and to develop into the bad girl that I am today, I started to realize that this was not normal, and that I could choose to have a healthier internal environment. And the amazing plug was that it shifted everything around me. So the anxiety that I experienced from a very young age up until I was about probably in my late 20s, early 30s, the anxiety would just feel like extra energy in my body. So initially, it started to just feel like extra energy in my body that had me on edge about things that had not even happened yet. So when we have anxiety, what it is your body basically and your mind ruminating on things that haven't happened yet. So anxiety is can show up in the form of having extra energy. So like if you think about being overly caffeinated, for example, and you're just kind of, it's like the engine in your body is running on supercharge and you can't quite keep up with it. Anxiety is like infusing yourself with a ton of energy. Okay. And it can show up in the form of you focusing on things that haven't happened yet, or it could just be energy. For me, I was an empath. So that means that I'm sensitive to other people's energy, and you may too be sensitive to other people's energy. So when I was in my younger years, it was very confusing for me because I had no education or guidance on how to live in my body energetically, how to deal with my emotions, and how to respond to my very tumultuous environment. I grew up with a lot of abuse, a lot of physical abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of neglect. So all of this energy, I just kind of kept it inside without really expressing it. And it just showed up as this build up of excess energy that always had me in fear of my life and my future in some kind of way. Please like this video if you feel where I'm coming from, if you have ever experienced this. So I would loop through anxiety. I had a lot of social anxiety in college, showing up in large groups. um, being around people, strangers that I didn't know because I was feeling everybody's energy and I was being impacted by this. Okay. So the depression came through just similar energies of just feeling like life was collapsing on me. Everything that happened negative in my environment, I felt as if it was just kind of forcing its weight on me and sinking me into the ground, like I was being, walking through life with quicksand or with like heavy bags on my body. So, like, I dealt with this and I learned how to function with this for a long, long time. And I'm here to tell you that, if you are experiencing anxiety, depression, or any kind of imbalance in your body, that you don't have to suffer from this. Okay. So this equated to me being that sad girl. And I do have my notepad right here if you see me looking down. Okay. So it resulted in me being a sad girl. The depression was like this chemical cocktail that was just in my body that would be triggered by the simplest of things. I went to work that day and everybody was in a bad mood. So now I'm feeling depressed. It's activating that resonant, familiar energy of depression already. Okay. It would be a season change where something traumatic had happened in my life. Like when I was a teenager, I got kicked out the house. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't because of anything crazy. It was just because I was in a very challenging environment where I was raised. So I was kicked out of the house. And I had to deal with that and the process of moving around and not knowing whether or not my original home was somewhere that I could trust to be a stable and nurturing place for me. Okay. So I went through all of this. And as I started to grow in my adult years, the memory of these energetic processes in my body was still there. Okay. So, as women, it's important for us to understand that our emotional environment is something that becomes a chemical cocktail that is a habitual internal response to life. Okay. And that's the thing about growing in your consciousness, in your feminine consciousness. You begin to realize that you have a response to life. You're either naturally someone that sees life from the glass is half full, or someone that naturally sees life from the glass is half empty. And this is a result of how you were psychologically and chemically trained as you aged. And those psychological and chemical responses to your environment in the form of your perception, which then leads to the form of your behaviors in your habit, were all programmed in you from a young age. And so, if you ever hear the statement that we have to unlearn what it was we were taught about life, this is a very, very important thing to recognize, because at the end of the day, we are all human beings with conscious minds. Okay. And as we begin to grow in our maturity, we can take our conscious minds and we can begin to examine whether or not how we are showing up in response to whatever is happening, no matter how intense or negative it is, or how positive it is going to shape the entire reality. Okay. So I did go on after I graduated from high school to move into my pre-medical process where I started with psychology. I started with psychology because there was alcoholism in my family, there was mental health issues in my family, and I wanted to see if I could understand, why people were suffering around me. Okay. And when I realized that I had so much going on inside of me, to become a psychiatrist almost felt hypocritical. Okay. So I felt like there was no way that I would be able to bring myself into a stable place in order to be able to serve as a support for others. Like the information that I was getting as a foundational psychology student was not giving me the answers that I needed to heal what I felt on a spiritual level, mind, body, soul, to be something that was spiritually inherent in my family and in my line. And this is where the work that we get the honor of participating in and the work that we get the honor of taking responsibility for in a healthy, compassionate way as women begins to take effect. Because I recognize on a psychological level, mental level, mind level, that something was off. I could look at it and I could judge it and I could see that. But on a spiritual level, I started to feel that there was something deeper there. Okay. And this is when I started to become introduced to ancestral trauma. And I started to realize that there were ancestral wounds that were deeper than what I could analyze with my mind. Okay. And I started to move into that spiritual path. Okay. So anything that we are being troubled in life, we must take it from multiple different layers. And this is what I learned in my process of becoming a sad girl and moving into that bad girl life. Okay. So the spiritual world, I started to develop my spirituality and I started to cultivate a language that I had with myself and a language that I had with the universe and the world on a deeper level than waking up, playing my role in society as a student, as an employee for whatever, as a daughter, as a girlfriend, or whatever have you. I started to connect with the deeper path of my soul and where my soul was taking me. And I was very fortunate to be able to take a deep dive into the layers of myself that started to show me that I was greater than my circumstances, good or bad. I was shown that there was more to life than what I could just see with the eye. Okay. And that I was also tethered by things that were deeper than what I could analyze with my mind. Okay. So I started to realize that these generational curses were actually another form of energy patterning that was being sent and that was being transferred into me. Okay. And on this channel, I want to be transparent with you as goddesses, as women, so that everything that I've gone through in my life, I feel like, you know, every time I have a conversation coaching women, every time I motivate a student to succeed and to achieve, the energy that I was able to transmute and transform from my sad girl era, it feels like all of that struggle was worth it when I'm able to come into this space and be honest about this journey and with this process. Okay. So when I was in my sad girl era, okay, it felt like everything was happening to me. And when I moved into my bad girl era, I started to realize that things were happening for me. Okay. So I started to see the pattern in things, and I started to see that just like how my emotions came around cyclically, that these relationships started to show up in my life cyclically. And the relationship that I was having, different types of relationships that I was having, were showing up as examples of something for me to overcome. So, for example, a relationship where I am at a job where I'm putting forth maximum energy and effort, and my boss is just shitting on me, was reflected in a relationship where I was being authentic and putting forth loving energy in the relationship, and that person was not seeing that and was actually being triggered by that energy and sending negative energy back to me. I started to see the parallel in these situations that were showing me these cyclical circumstances in order for me to recognize my self-worth and to grow out of these patterns where I was putting myself in situations where my self-worth was not being honored. I stopped putting myself in these circumstances where I was not being served at a deeper level for my long-term growth. And what I started to do was graduate myself out of these circumstances by saying no and by setting healthy boundaries. Okay. So, as a bad girl in my bad girl era who was aligned with the goddess lifestyle that she desires, I recognized that I wanted to live a life where I was making decisions for my future that would empower me rather than disempower me. So when I showed up in these circumstances that did not feel good and that did not feel in alignment with what I felt I deserved based on my self-worth, I then started to really just honor who I was becoming and making challenging decisions about my boundaries and responding in the moment to challenging situations in ways in which I knew would bring me into the future that I desired. Okay, so let me check my notes here, make sure that I'm getting everything that I want to talk about. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is go through a list of things that I did to get me to transition out of my sad girl era into my bad girl era. And this list of things is not in any kind of incremental order. Okay. And there might be some other things that come up as I'm going through this list. So these are just the things that I did to get myself out of those cyclical, negative, toxic patterns and into patterns that would feed my soul, that would feed my future, and that would feed my actual purpose in life. And before I move on, I also want to let you know that the Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course is going to help you to transform and to transmute all of these energetic cycles and patterns from every layer. Okay, the mental layer, the physical layer, and the spiritual layer. It is about transforming yourself from the old version of yourself into a newer, more aligned, more authentic version of yourself. So the first thing that I started to do was learn what boundaries are. I started to learn what boundaries are. I started to learn what the difference between my energy was and what the person beside me that was affecting me, their energy. Okay. Because I was an empath, I had to get very clear about whose emotions I was feeling and whether or not I wanted to allow them to penetrate my energy field of circumstance. Okay. And this took a lot of quiet reflection, a lot of quiet reflection. And it also took a lot of grounding, which I talk about in multiple videos. Okay. When you ground, you are bringing yourself into a present state of connection with your actual physical body, and you are not in your mind, you're not in the future, and you are not in the past. Okay. And the other thing I want to say before I move on, I totally forgot, is that depression is actually internalized anger. It's one thing that I learned, from studying psychology, is that depression is when we internalize anger because there's something that we feel that we can't control. So it then gets bottled up inside of you in the form of depression. Right. So when I was younger, a lot of my depression came from the fact that the leaders that I had around me, I couldn't just go to them and tell them how I felt. Okay. There was always this authority figure in my life that I just wanted to just say something to them, but I just never had, I never had, the strength or the confidence to stand up for myself. So I internalized it and bottled it up as depression. And what this is it caused me to focus on events of the past, which is what depression does. It causes you to focus on events of the past. Okay. And it basically just robs you of your power. Okay. So I had to learn boundaries, number one, which was initially, it just looked like me creating space between these negative circumstances in order for me to just allow my energy to receive whatever it is I needed. For me, it looked like a lot of quiet space. It looked like a lot of reflection and journaling, which is why I always recommend that you have a journal so that you can be more supportive of yourself in your goddess journey. Okay. One of the biggest things that I did to shift myself out of my sad girl era was to get into my physical fitness. Again, it comes back to that theme of allowing yourself to exist inside of your body. Okay. Because as women, when we are undergoing these uncomfortable emotional experiences, a go to method could be to abuse substances, which can range from anywhere from, weed, wine, and, toxic friends where you just gossip or just zoning out and vegging out on TV. Like there's a full spectrum of ways in which we can numb ourselves from our actual emotional experiences. But the thing about fitness, what fitness gave me and being physically in shape and getting into my health and my wellness is that it forced me to be present in a way, because when I show up for fitness or movement, it allowed me to be present with my body and the emotions that were running in my body, and to transmute anything that I was finding a struggle with. Okay. It allowed me to release endorphins, which helps with all of these emotional challenges. So it doesn't matter whether you're going to the gym and lifting weights or whether you're going to a Zumba class, you really just want to be moving your body, because when you move your body and you're exercising, you're going to insert into whatever your baseline chemical cocktail of emotions are. You're going to insert into that chemical cocktail endorphins, serotonin, all of those feel good hormones that just allow you to feel elevated in life and that give you that expansive energy, that expansive perspective, because now you have oxygenated your mind, you've got oxygen moving through your body, you feel elevated, you feel warmer, you feel more open. And it's really important for us as women to feel open and to feel expansive and to feel receptive. When we are in a healthy state, feminine energy is open and receptive and responsive. Okay. And inviting. On the next level, you then become inviting. And so when I started to exercise, it helped me in that level. Okay. Not only that, but it taught me how to have self-control and how to have discipline. So when I started to move my body, I started to recognize that there were just certain things that I had to no longer put in my body or maintain control over putting inside of my body if I wanted to show up for my physical practice and to feel confident. Okay. So I became nutritionally aware and nutritionally accountable. And the way that I did that, I put all of those details inside of the 14 Mind, Body, Soul Reset course, the 14-day Mind, Body, Soul Reset course, which has a nutritional program, and it shows you how I created flow in my life nutritionally by eating clean, eating on the rainbow diet, and recognizing my physical rhythms through my cravings, okay, and my appetite. So it really helps. And the thing about eating well and exercising and moving your body, no matter what that looks like for you, is it teaches you self-discipline. Okay. Every human being that considers themselves successful, no matter whether you are a man or whether you are a woman, you have to have some kind of level of self-control and self-discipline if you want to thrive in life. If you are on this channel and you see yourself as someone that wants to be successful, successful, and you're trying to figure out how to get there, the easiest way to do that is to start to get in tune with your internal rhythm through physical movement and eating clean. Okay. Because your body is a temple of light. We want to be feeding ourselves and we want to be fueling ourselves with light. There's so much that will shift from a space of eating clean and being aware of what you put in your body. It gets very deep, but I want to keep that part brief for today. But just know, when you control what you put in your mouth, when you have self-discipline to put healthy things in your mouth and to do healthy things for your body consistently, and you have that masculine foundation, which I've talked about in the video, the masculine versus feminine energy. When you have that masculine grounding underneath you, your feminine energy can thrive and you can start to boss up in this life and be a real baddie. Okay. The next thing that I learned is delayed gratification. Okay. So delayed gratification is when you have your sights on a goal, a desire, a wish, and you are slowly showing up daily and you are contributing habits into your life, which are patterning you internally, which is going to bring you in alignment with that and what you seek. Okay. So when you show up consistently and you're very specific about the behavior that you're contributing so that you can get a certain outcome. So for me, I love to travel. So I watch my finances, I make sure that I have a savings, and I make sure that when I do get ready to travel, that I have everything that I need to be able to travel. So what that might look like is that I might not be able to get that outfit or those shoes right now. I may have to delay that and put aside a separate savings for that, because I know that ultimately I want to be able to travel and I want to be financially healthy when I return from traveling. Okay. So there's that delayed gratification of being able to go and explore new places and to be filled up and to be expanded by that high quality experience that I had to delay and wait for, which is psychologically far more satisfying than a quick hit of dopamine, just scrolling and purchasing that thing like in an instant and doing that. Okay. And I'm not saying if you have it like that, you go for it, girl. You scroll away and you make that purchase and you do your thing. But delayed gratification really just allows us as women to experience the buildup in that slow simmer of energy. So, in a sense, it is a sexual creative energy to allow things to have that slow build, because it is more deeply satisfying. So, as women, remember, we are receptacles, and the energy in which we're able to be filled up with goes deep. There's a depth to it. So when you allow yourself to have that delay in gratification, you're allowing that slow fill. And if you think about something that is being filled up, when it's being filled up really fast, it has a tendency, depending on what it is, to burst open, which can be messy, right? But when you are really slowly allowing yourself to be poured into, when you're pouring into your life through your daily habits and thoughts and actions, okay, you're going to slowly expand to that in which you desire, which is also why, success is also more satisfying when it is a slow build. You'll look at a lot of celebrities that had success and had exposure and were in the limelight from a young age. Okay. And a lot of those people end up losing their freaking minds. This is like real Scorpio energy. We're in Scorpio season now. Okay. A lot of those people end up losing their minds along the way. And it's because the vessel, the container that they had to be filled up by the money, by the attention, by people worshiping them and putting them on a pedestal, it went so fast that they were not able to develop the strength, that expansive strength of that muscle to be filled up and to hold what that success requires, to hold the financial education for receiving a lot of money, right? So delayed gratification, be grateful when things are not happening as fast as you would like them to, okay? Like things not happening instantaneously, that delay between the fifth dimensional reality and the three-dimensional reality, the fifth dimensional reality of when you ask for something and you request it, and the three-dimensional reality of when it actually shows up in the material realm, be grateful for that delay, because I'm here to tell you anything that you feel is in delay in your life is in delay. It's not in delay. Okay. It is a slow build. Everything is always happening for you. Please put that in the comments with a white heart. Everything is happening for me at the time in which is an alignment with my highest and my best good. I love that statement because it just gives me that statement has given me so much equilibrium and balance in my life, that everything is happening for me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything is supporting me, and it's happening in the time that is aligned, most supportive with my highest and my best good. I love that statement. So that'll be our mantra that we hold for the next week. Drop a white heart below if you feel this message. Please remember to like the video. So delayed gratification is something that like really gets me going. Like I love that slow buildup. I love the tease. I love it when life is flirting with me and life is like showing me these little pockets of potential. Like that really turns me on. That's just my constitution. I love that energy. And I'm also a big tease as well. Okay. So I don't mind when life teases me as long as you give it to me eventually. Okay. Um, all right. So as women, we are full of desire, but if you don't know how to harness your desire and make it work for you, it can lead to frustration. And it's important to develop the skill of learning how to use your desire in an efficient and a productive way. Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course. Okay. So the next thing that I did to get me from my sad girl era into my bad girl era was to find something that I was passionate about. I've always been a passionate, creative person from the time where I played instruments into the time where I decided to make my body my primary instrument. Okay. So you all know that I am a dancer. I'm a professional aerialist, and that is my passion. My passion is filling my students up with confidence, and helping them to thrive and feel successful and to feel sexy and sassy in their own bodies. This is what I'm very passionate about doing. And when I show up and I put my energy into that, it feeds me back. So I want you to think of whatever in your life you're very passionate about. And if you can't think of anything that you're passionate about off the top of your head, I want to encourage you to explore things that you may possibly be passionate about. And this could also include a business idea that you have that you're working on developing something, that you want to pour your energy into, that may bring you profit, and that liberation, that financial freedom, or just something as simple as creating artwork for your family and for your friends and being seen for doing what you love. Allow yourself to share what you're creative and what you're passionate about. So you want to focus on what fills you up, because again, we're vessels. We want to be filling ourselves up as well as emptying. We want to be emptying because there's an ebb and there's a flow when it comes to moving through life through our goddess energy, through our activated feminine energy. Okay. And again, we want to be filled up with that clean energy, that sustainable energy. So that's going to be something that you can see build over time. Okay. Cheap energy fulfillment is just having attention from, people that don't have your best interest in mind, seeking validation unnecessarily, wasting your time on things because they momentarily feel good. But when you wake up the next day, are they putting food on your table? Are they paying your bills? Are they giving you a sense of sustained joy and purpose in your life? That's how you're able to tell the difference between high quality vibrational fulfillment and basically low quality. Okay. Cheap thrills. Although cheap thrills are fun from time to time. Okay. Keep it balanced though, is basically what I'm trying to say. So the next thing and most important thing that is really has taken me to the next level and the next level and the next level, which continuously brings me into a state of expansion, is going to be gratitude. So having a gratitude practice. There were times where I had to choose between putting gas in my car and putting food on my table. And in that moment, I had to be thankful for just having something to begin with. Okay. For me, my life has been so challenging where I have had to draw forth gratitude just from simply breathing. And we should be grateful to breathe every single day of our lives, showing up in this world, in this textured reality where we get to play, where we get to cry, where we get to love, where we get to fail. We have the dignity of our failures and we have the opportunity of thriving. We all get that personal choice as human beings. Okay. It's a blessing that we should be grateful for. Okay. Having gratitude is powerful for multiple different reasons. Okay. Number one, when you are grateful, you are allowing yourself to be anchored into this reality. And the reason that I keep bringing up being anchored into this reality is because it has to do with your root energy. So I'm going to be doing a meditation in Mount Shasta side piece. Announcement. I'm going to Mount Shasta from in a few weeks. I'll announce the actual date when I get a little bit closer, but I'm going to be in Mount Shasta, or I'll send it on the email list. Join the email link below if you want to find out the details. And I'm going to be doing a root chakra meditation in Mount Shasta. Okay. So having a healthy root is something that is going to take you far in life. Having a healthy root is going to help you to have healthy boundaries. And when you are grateful on the topic of gratitude, okay, you want to be grateful. What it does is it brings you into your body. It brings you into this physical, tangible 3D reality. The root chakra is the most dense chakra. It's the most tangible chakra. It's our skin. It's our body. Okay. It's how we got here, which is our ancestry. And this is why I'm so big on this work. That's why I'm going to Mount Shasta, because I've been deep inside of this ancestral work. Like I told you from the start of the video, I've been invested in this for my life, from the course of my awakening, okay, which started back in like 2008. All right. But what happens is when you are grateful, okay, you recognize that you are stable. You have a roof over your head. You have a bed to sleep in. That's your root. That's your grounding. You're grateful to be in your body. You're grateful to be healthy. You're grateful to have food to eat. These are tangible root things that we have that we can always be grateful for. Okay. It's going to work on your sacrum because it's going to show you that you have value in your life, and it's going to show you the value of exchange that you have in your life, because the womb is a two-way place. It's a two-way channel where you receive energy and you give energy, sheds every month. This is your creative source, your self-identity. Okay, so it's going to activate and heal your womb and your sacrum, and it's going to help you to channel your creativity when you're just grateful to be inspired by the simple things. Okay. Anything that you find inspiration for, give gratitude for it. Learn to always be in gratitude, and this will shift you into some baddie energy, big time, big time. Okay. And then it also works on your heart space. Okay. So for me, the hardest place to work on was my heart space, because I carry trauma from previous lifetimes of like real severe depression and heart space trauma, physical and energetic. It was very, very difficult for me. But when I really started to allow my heart to expand, to be able to receive, when I realized that everyone was not out against me. Okay. I started to realize that I was safe. I stopped carrying the shell of protection over my heart space, and that allowed me to open up my energy and to enjoy my life experiences more, because I was open to it once I got through the trauma. Okay. So when you are grateful, you are asking your heart space to relax and to not be contracted and clenched up. Okay. And when we are relaxed and we allow this expansion from this space, we are able to be more easily inspired and we're able to move forth on our path in life. And all of these things are conversations that you can have with your body in little moments that don't even take very long, just to stop and to be grateful and to tune into your heart space and then to tune into your womb space and to put your feet down into the ground and just be appreciative of being alive. Okay. So, the other thing that really helped me to heal my heart space was my inner child work. It was really big game changer for me was the inner child work. And I have videos where I've talked about inner child work, and I'll probably do some more in the future because it's just so important. Okay. The next thing that I did to become a baddie was I started to get educated. So anything that I was finding challenging that I didn't have the answer to, self-help, I started to read self-help books on spirituality, on femininity, on anything that I found curious, how to be a business owner, how to be wealthy. Like, you can educate yourself on anything in this modern day. And that's why you're here on this video, because you love self-education. Okay. And I'm here to nourish you and feed you with that high quality material that's going to motivate you and fill you up so that you can go into your life and live one where you feel like you are, again, in alignment with your highest purpose. So, education is really important. And another thing that I found is that taking shortcuts in life is always going to be consequential. Okay. So, taking shortcuts in life never amounts to being what you thought it would be. Okay. And I'm just going to leave that there. If you feel like you're being offered an opportunity that is a shortcut to doing the actual deep inner work of looking at yourself and examining yourself and truly deeply loving yourself and nurturing and cultivating yourself for however long it takes, it could take up to years. It took me years to become the person that I am. Okay. Which can command a space of women and inspire myself and feel incredible in my body and, you know, and translate music and song and movement in my body and confidently do that and confidently put my mind on my visions and to create. Okay. It took me a long time. And it took me learning that anytime I'm taking a shortcut, a short ride, that is typically going to end up being consequential. So that's my warning for you. Somebody needed to hear that. Okay. I would not take shortcuts if I were you. All righty. I'm just here to keep it real with y'all. You already know. Okay. The next thing, I don't know what number this is, probably like number 8 or something. The next thing that I found was very important in me becoming a baddie was taking action and holding myself accountable for what it is I said I was going to do. Okay. If I'm working on a project like this YouTube channel is a big one. This is my first year having this YouTube channel. When I first started, I said that I would do it for 3 months. Then 3 months came and now I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it for a year. And now I'm like, okay, I'm going to get to 100 followers. Like, so I'm just always building on my previous step, on my previous goal, and putting another goal on top of that while celebrating those small wins in between, being receptive of that positive accomplishment, even if it's small. Okay. I hold myself accountable for that and loving compassion. And this is another masculine trait. So the discipline of showing up for my body and eating well and making sure that my vessel, my facility is healthy is a disciplinary action. It's a masculine, healthy masculine action. That's me showing up in my divine masculine for myself. And so is being action oriented, not just talking about it, reading about it, listening to it, hoping for it. I make concrete, actionable plans and I show up for them to the best of my ability. Okay. So you may want to have an accountability partner, or maybe you're just very good at holding yourself accountable. If you would like accountability and support and encouragement and empowerment, I am opening up coaching sessions, one-on-one coaching sessions for next year, for 2024. You can email me to reach out to find out how to work one-on-one with me if that's something that interests you. And last but not least, I have community. So one of the things that has really allowed me, and this is more in my more recent past, like in the last few years, that has really made me feel like a baddie is my community. Okay. So I want to encourage you to find a community where you feel seen and where you feel accepted, where you know you are in a healthy environment of high vibrational people. It could be your family, it could be your friends that support your vision for your life, okay? That support the energy that you bring to the table. Make sure that you are eating at the table with people that recognize and appreciate what you bring to the table. For me, it is my aerial community, my dance community. My students are absolute riders for me. Those girls ride for me. If I'm like, yo, we're going to do this routine and then we're going to do this and we're going here, they're like, yeah, bet, I'm with it. And I will tell you that this has made me feel like such a baddie, because when I was in my sad girl years, I did not feel accepted. I did not feel seen, because let's be honest, I'm a very authentic, unique, interesting, odd person. Okay. And if you're a freak, I want to encourage you to wave your freak flag high, because there are lots of freaks out there just like you that are waiting for you to authentically express yourself. Okay. So your people are out there, and hopefully this is the space for you. If you've gotten this far in the video, please like the video. I encourage you to share and subscribe so that we can get to 100 followers and I can start dropping some shorter videos and more frequent videos as we move into this amazing Scorpio season and as we make our way into the next calendar year. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I will catch you in the next one. One love. Mwah.